Next on BGSU Brain Game, Toledo School for the Arts versus St. Francis. I think we better settle in for some bountiful brain boxing. Only one team can leave victorious. Who is it going to be? Only one way to find out. BGSU's Brain Game starts right now. And welcome to BGSU Brain Game. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. For the Toledo School for the Arts, coached by Mr. Bruchette, we have in slot number 1, Elijah, a junior. Slot number 2, Ryan, a junior. And in slot number 3, Solano, also a junior. Now for St. Francis, coached by Mr. Honeysco. In slot number 1, we have Joe, a senior. Slot number 2, it is Justin, a junior. And in slot number 3, it is Luke, the senior. All right, everyone, that is our starting lineup for this episode of BGSU Brain Game. Let's get right to it. Start everything off as we always do with our toss-up round. In this round, all questions are worth 10 points apiece. No deduction for an incorrect answer, so you can play a little bit looser on your buzzers. You can confer before buzzing in, and you can steal a question in this round. All right, St. Francis, Toledo School for the Arts, are you ready?
Yes,
all right, BGSU's Brain Game starts right now. Question number 1, jump in when you know this answer. Here we go. The American inventor described his first successful prototype was named the quadricycle. Later attempts were a Model A and the Model T. That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Ford.
That is indeed Henry Ford. Multiple choice question. Situated along the Nile River, the city of Omdurman boasts the largest population which African nation whose capital is Khartoum. Is it A, Ethiopia? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Sudan.
Sudan, this B was Sudan. Didn't even need the multiple choice. But we have another one, another multiple choice question in this round. When Columbus arrived on the island of Hispaniola in 1493, which European crop did he introduce to the Caribbean? That would be St. Francis. Justin again.
Tobacco.
Incorrect. I will finish the question for TSA to steal. Introduced to the Caribbean islanders by presenting them with seedlings from A, green beans, B, strawberries, or C, sugarcane. TSA, would you like to steal? That would be Elijah.
Green beans.
Incorrect. It was actually C, sugarcane. Give the 6-letter science term that refers to an optical illusion created by light waves and layers of hot air, often seen at sea. That would be Toledo School for the Arts. Ryan.
Mirage.
Correct, a mirage. Andorra, Liechtenstein, and Monaco are all classified as principalities and is a type of small nation ruled by a monarch and sometimes located geographically within other nations. Spell principalities. That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Principalities.
Correct. And next question. This distinctive and highly specialized group of Old World lizards with approximately 200 species is most noted for its ability to change colors for various, that would be St. Francis. Justin.
Chameleon.
A chameleon is correct. Any component of an ecosystem devoid of life, examples are light, wind, and water. Our answer for that begins with the letter A. What is it? Time. We were looking for an abiotic factor there. Which 2-word oxymoronic phrase describes a leisure trip accompanied by one's laptop and a list? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Working vacation.
A working vacation. Solid allotropes differ in their crystal structures, while gaseous allotropes differ in their molecular structures. State the chemical formulas of the 2 allotropes of oxygen. That would be St. Francis. Justin.
O2 and O3.
O2 and O3 is correct. Identify the legal term used to designate the granting of early release to a prisoner. That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Clemency.
Incorrect. Demonstrated good behavior and committed to the same upon his or her release. Toledo School for the Arts, a chance to steal. That would be Ryan.
Bail.
Incorrect. Parole is what we needed there specifically. All right, that is all 10 questions in that round. Let's take a look at our score. We have TSA at 10 and St. Francis with 60. Stick around, we're just getting started. The risk and reward round is coming up next. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. Toledo School for the Arts, 10 points. St. Francis, 60 points. Before we move to our next round, I'd like to welcome some new players to the team. For Toledo School for the Arts, in slot number 2, we have Liam, a sophomore. In slot number 3, Courtney, a junior. For St. Francis, their lineup is shuffled a little bit as well. In slot number 1, we have Luke, a junior. And in slot number 3, we have Jordan, a sophomore. All right, that is our substitutes for this round. The rest of the teams have stuck around. Welcome back to our new or welcome to them, and welcome to our new players. This is the risk and reward round. Teams, you will both be receiving the same 10 questions. The first 9 are 10 points apiece, no deduction for an incorrect answer. The 10th question, however, is the risk and reward question. We will give you a topic, and then you can risk up to 30 points in 5-point increments on that topic. You get it right, you get those points. You get it wrong, hate to tell you, you're gonna lose those points. But if you don't like the topic at all, you can say pass and just head out with your 9 questions. All right, Toledo School for the Arts, you have 10 points. St. Francis, you have 60. That means TSA, you are off to isolation right this way. All right, St. Francis, are you ready for the risk and reward round?
We are.
Starts right now. True or false question, starting things off. Transversal is the name for a line in a plane that intersects 2 or more lines at 2 distinct points that lie in the same plane. True or false?
It has to be, it intersects 2 parallel lines.
Yeah.
False. You think so? Yeah.
That would be Justin.
False.
Incorrect. It's true. It is true. By age 50, this artery is often showing signs of at least minor blockage in large numbers of Americans due to the presence of plaque. Name this largest artery in the human neck.
I think it's correct.
I think so.
That would be Justin.
Carotid.
Correct. Which dread disease witnessed by Robert Louis Stevenson prompted him to write these lines describing a priest? I have seen sights that cannot be told. Of old Damien, whose weakness and worse perhaps I heard fully. It is also known as Hansen's disease.
Leprosy.
That would be Justin.
Leprosy.
Leprosy is correct. Much like a tuba, this large musical instrument encircles the player to make marching easier. Identify this instrument whose name begins with the letter S. That would be Justin.
Sousaphone.
Sousaphone is correct. Multiple choice question. Which southeastern nation made up of more than 100 ethnic groups was formerly known as Burma and has its modern capital at Naypyidaw? Its former capital was Rangoon. Was it A, Bangladesh, B, Myanmar, or C, Laos? That would be Justin.
Myanmar.
Myanmar. B is correct. In which U.S. state could one visit the waterfall Shoshone Falls that is known as the Niagara Falls of the West? It is home to the cities of Ketchum and Sun Valley. That would be Justin.
Wyoming.
Incorrect. Close in the ballpark, Idaho. Idaho is what we're looking for there. The venom of rattlesnakes is considered a hemotoxin because it destroys red blood cells. What effect does the loss of red blood cells have on the victim's blood? That would be Justin.
Decreases the iron content.
It does not. It causes the blood not to clot or coagulate. Multiple choice question. In the sentence, Michaela is carrying Sadie's flute to the car. The word is acts as a helping verb. Which more technical term designates this type of verb? Is it A, irregular, B, auxiliary, or C, transitive? That would be Justin.
Auxiliary.
Auxiliary is correct. Which musical term literally means with an increase in volume and is symbolically represented with what might be described as an elongated less than symbol?
Crescendo.
That would be Justin.
Crescendo.
A crescendo is indeed what we were looking for. Risk and reward time. The topic is verb tense. St. Francis, would you like to risk something on this or pass?
30.
30 points for St. Francis on verb tense. Here we go. Name the verb tense in the following sentence. Clementine was sitting by the pond feeding the ducks.
Pass.
That would be Justin.
Past progressive.
Correct. That is the end of the risk and reward round for you. Additional 30 points. That means it is now time for you to wrap things up and head off to isolation. All right, let's bring in Toledo School for the Arts. Welcome back. All right, TSA, are you ready for the risk and reward round?
Yeah.
Yes.
Starts right now. We're going to start things off with a true or false question. Transversal is the name for a line in a plane that intersects two or more lines at two distinct points that lie in the same plane. True or false?
It's true.
True.
Yes.
That would be Courtney.
True.
True is correct. By age 50, this artery is often showing signs of at least minor blockage in a large number of Americans due to the presence of plaque. Name this largest artery in the human neck.
Carotid.
That would be Courtney.
Carotid.
Correct. Which dread disease witnessed by Robert Louis Stevenson prompted him to write these lines describing a priest? I have seen the sights that cannot be told. Of old Damien, whose weakness and worse, perhaps, I heard fully. It is also known as Hansen's disease.
I don't know.
Me neither.
Nope.
In time? Not in time. Sorry, leprosy is what we were looking for there. Much like the tuba, this large musical instrument encircles the player to make marching easier. Identify this instrument whose name begins with the letter S.
Saxophone.
No.
No. That's.
Time. Sousaphone is what we were looking for there. Multiple choice question. Which southeastern nation made up of more than 100 ethnic groups was formerly known as Burma and has its modern capital at Naypyidaw? Its former capital was Rangoon. Is it A, Bangladesh, B, Myanmar, or that would be Elijah?
Myanmar.
Myanmar is correct. Didn't even need that third one. In which U.S. state could one visit the waterfall Shoshone Falls that is also known as the Niagara Falls of the West? It is home to the cities of Ketchum and Sun Valley.
Let's go with Idaho.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking like South Dakota.
Yeah. Let's go with it.
Time. Time. Idaho is what we're looking for there. The venom of a rattlesnake is considered a hemotoxin because it destroys red blood cells. What effect does the loss of red blood cells have on the victim's blood?
Iron deficiency?
Go ahead, sorry.
Courtney.
Iron deficiency?
Incorrect. The blood will not clot. Multiple choice. In the sentence, Michaela is carrying Sadie's flute to the car. The word is acts as a helping verb. Which more technical term designates this type of verb? Is it A, irregular, B, auxiliary, or C, transitive?
Auxiliary.
No. Yeah. Eli's saying yeah. I'll go with it.
That would be Liam.
Auxiliary.
Auxiliary, B is correct. Which musical term literally means with an increase in volume and is symbolically represented with what might be described as an elongate less than symbol? That would be Liam.
Fortissimo.
Incorrect. Crescendo. Crescendo. All right, risk and reward time. The topic is verb tense.
Should we try?
Are you good with verb tenses? Because I'm not.
Risk up to 30 points in 5-point increments.
Yeah, let's do 15.
At
Yeah.
most.
What are you thinking?
Yes, 15 points.
15 points on verb tense. All right. Verb tense. Name the verb tense in the following sentence. Clementine was sitting by the pond feeding the ducks.
Past. Yeah.
That would be Liam.
Past tense.
No, that'd be present.
Incorrect. We needed past progressive. Past progressive. All right, Toledo School for the Arts, that is the end of the risk and reward round for you. It is now time to clear our scores, and let's bring back in St. Francis. Come on back in. All right, let's take a look at where our teams stand against each other. St. Francis has 150 points. Toledo School for the Arts stands at 35 points. We're just getting warmed up here at BGSU Brain Game because coming up next is our category round where questions are worth 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30 points apiece. Deductions are going to start. We're just getting started. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. TSA 35 points, St. Francis at 150 points. Before we move on to our next round, I'd like to welcome some of our players back and new players. We have for Toledo School for the Arts in slot number 3, Ryan, a junior. For St. Francis in slot number 1, we have Lucas, a freshman. And in slot number 3, we have Luke, a senior. All right, welcome to our returning players and our new players. This is the category round. This is where the power shifts a little bit to you, our teams. There are 6 categories to choose from. Inside each category are questions worth 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 points apiece. But beware, red alert, that's right, raise shields on this because negs start now. Deduction of points for an incorrect answer. You may confer before buzzing in, not after, and you can steal a question in this round. Keep an eye out for the double or nothing question. It's hiding somewhere in there. It's double the points, no penalty, but you got to find it. Could be a game changer. Let's find out. TSA, you are at 35 points. That means you make the first selection.
Bodily systems for 30.
Bodily systems for 30 points. I will describe a system of the human body. You are to name it. Influences the functions of the body by using hormones. That would be St. Francis. Luke.
Endocrine system.
Correct on endocrine system. St. Francis takes control.
We'll take bodily systems for 25.
Bodily systems for 25 points. System to absorb nutrients. That would be Toledo School for the Arts. Liam.
Digestive system.
Digestive system is correct. 25 points to you and control.
Bodily systems for 20.
Bodily systems for 20 points. The system that uses bones to maintain this, that would be TSA. Liam.
Skeletal system.
Skeletal system is correct. TSA in control, stepping on the gas.
Bodily systems for 15.
Bodily systems for 15 points. Defends the body against pathogens. That will be St. Francis. Justin.
Immune system.
Immune system is correct. St. Francis snatches back control.
Science begins with C for 20.
Science begins with C for 20 points. I will describe a science term that begins with the letter C. You will give me the term. Which temperature scale is used? That would be TSA. Liam.
Celsius.
Celsius is correct. TSA snatches control.
Bodily systems for 10.
Bodily systems now for 10 points. Tissues that all right, St. Francis. Justin.
Integumentary system.
Excuse me?
Integumentary system.
Incorrect. Tissues that enable the body to move. TSA, would you like to steal? That would be Ryan.
Muscular.
Muscular system is what we needed there. TSA in control.
Science begins with C for 15.
Science begins with C for 15 points. Which branch of science studies the makeup of matter and how? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Chemistry.
Chemistry is correct. St. Francis back in control.
Proverbs for 30.
Proverbs for 30 points. A bird in the hand is worth 2. That would be TSA. Liam.
Bush.
Will we accept that? We cannot accept that. St. Francis, chance to steal. They're saying no. Close, but we needed the full statement, in the bush.
Oh.
In the bush. All right, St. Francis in control.
We'll take Proverbs for 25.
Proverbs for 25. Don't put the cart before the... That will be St. Francis. Justin.
Horse.
Correct. St. Francis in control.
Science begins with C for 30.
Science begins with C for 30 points. What type of evergreen tree or that would be TSA, Liam?
Cypress.
Incorrect. Or shrub produces its seeds in cones? That would be St. Francis, Luke.
Coniferous.
We accept that, yes. All right, St. Francis in control.
Science begins with C for 25.
Science begins with C for 25. What chemical element has the symbol of C? That would be St. Francis, Luke.
Carbon.
Incorrect. Cr. That would be Ryan.
Chromium.
Chromium is what we needed there. TSA takes back control.
Science begins with C for 10.
Science begins with C for 10. Give the term for a Russian astronaut. That would be St. Francis, Justin.
Cosmonaut.
Cosmonaut is correct. That finishes that category. St. Francis in control.
College team nicknames for 30.
College team nicknames for 30 points. I will name a United States university or college, and if necessary, the state where it is found. You are to name the school's current sports nickname. University of Kansas. That would be St. Francis, Justin.
The Jayhawks.
They are indeed the Jayhawks. St. Francis in control.
College team nicknames for 25.
College team nicknames for 25 points. Oregon State University. Not in time. That'd be the Beavers is what we were looking for there. St. Francis still in control.
Proverbs for 20.
Proverbs for 20 points. You can lead a horse to water, but that would be St. Francis. Justin.
You can't make him drink.
You can't make him drink. Correct. St. Francis still in control.
Decade what for 30?
Decade what for 30 points. I will give you an event in history. You tell me the decade it occurred. Answers would be in the form of 1820s, 1930s, etc. The Democratic Party was created. That would be TSA, Elijah.
1830s.
Incorrect. St. Francis, would you like to steal? That'd be Justin.
1820s.
1820s, correct. St. Francis in control.
Decade what for 25?
Decade what for 25 points. The Mayflower Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock. TSA, Ryan.
1620s.
1620s is correct. TSA takes control.
Decade what for 20?
Decade what for 20 points. California became the 31st state in, that would be TSA, Ryan.
1840s.
Incorrect. St. Francis, would you like to steal? Justin.
1850s.
1850s is correct. St. Francis in control.
College team nicknames for 20.
College team nicknames for 20 points. Clemson University, South Carolina. That would be St. Francis. Lucas.
Tigers.
They are indeed the Tigers.
We'll take animals for 30.
Animals for 30 points. Which land mammal has the most powerful bite in the world? That would be TSA. Ryan.
Lion.
Incorrect. St. Francis, you do have an opportunity to steal.
Nope.
They say no. That would be the hungry hippo. That is the land mammal. All right, let's take a look at our score. We have TSA 20, St. Francis 360. Coming up next is the brainstorm round. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. Toledo School for the Arts 20, St. Francis 360 points. Before we move to our next round, let's say hello to some new and returning players. For TSA, we have slot number 1, Oliver, a sophomore. Slot number 2, Solano, a junior. In slot number 3, Courtney, a junior. And for St. Francis, they brought in Terry in slot number 3, and Terry is a sophomore. Welcome to our new and our returning players. This is the brainstorm round. Each question is worth 20 points apiece, negative 20 for an incorrect answer. You may confer before buzzing in, but no stealing. I repeat, no stealing in this round. We move immediately to the next question. All right, TSA, St. Francis, are you ready for the brainstorm? Starts right now. Death Valley, the lowest point that would be St. Francis. Justin.
California.
Incorrect. Mojave Desert, by the way. Which hard, strong, gray, or bluish gray alloy of iron with carbon and chromium resists rust and tarnishing much better than most? That would be TSA, Oliver.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel is correct. Following which U.S. president's term in office did the Reconstruction period of the United States come to an end? He was our 19th president. That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Hayes.
Hayes is correct. What is the third longest playing Broadway musical that features the music, The Circle of Life? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
The Lion King.
Lion King is correct. Identify the U.S. state that is nicknamed the Coyote State and is home to the annual, that would be St. Francis. Justin.
Arizona.
Incorrect. South Dakota. What word associated with sailing did Alexander Graham Bell expect to be used to answer a phone call? Time. He thought it was going to be ahoy. What does the acronym NASA stand for? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Correct. What layer of Earth is made of moving magma? That would be TSA. Oliver.
The mantle.
Mantle is correct. Name the instrument that uses mercury to that would be St. Francis. Justin.
Barometer.
Barometer, yes, atmospheric pressure. Who wrote The Martian Chronicles? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Bradbury.
Bradbury is correct. This island, state south of New South Wales, was named for a Dutch, that would be St. Francis. Justin.
Tasmania.
Tasmania, correct. What is the atomic number of carbon? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
6.
6 is correct. What do we call the warning police must give to individuals they have? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
Miranda warning.
Miranda warning or rights is correct. What is it called when an organ or fatty tissue protrudes through a weak spot in the surrounding muscle? Hernia. Hernia is what we were looking for there. What is the capital of Salvador? That would be St. Francis. Justin.
San Salvador.
San Salvador is correct. What is the square root of end of round of 289? It will be 17. Let's take a look at our score. TSA 60, and our winner with 500 points is St. Francis. Let's give both these teams a big round of applause. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, let's come out, meet in the middle, and we'll see you at the next BGSU Brain Game.